here finally. I hate that Diego went first, but it's all right. I'll take second place.
Yeah, it's okay. We did a buy one, get one free rat race special. So that's what we did. Diego said, I'll come on. You get Felipe. First, before we begin, man, and before we get into you, we were just having a conversation off camera. And I know as a podcaster now, I know that whenever we start having these juicy talks, we just need to go ahead and throw it onto the mic. So
just hit record.
What was I just complaining and whining about? I was just complaining and whining about making the pivot to hiring my first full-time virtual assistant for me and my company. And you're like, oh, I've got like 120 that work for me. So I think this is a great place to start, man. Let's walk this backwards, because give the advice that you just gave to me.
Your listeners are going to be like, geez, like he's hitting the ground hard. Yeah, let's go for it.
I'm sorry. I mean, we can warm them up. Are y'all okay with this? People listening, are you fine with just diving into massive levels of value? You good? Okay, cool. Great. Felipe, kill it.
Yeah, dude. So when we jumped on hit the record button, that's where the juicy stuff is actually. You were talking about getting a VA and how like you're scared to get your first VA. And there's a couple of reasons I believe that people are scared to get their first VA. And then I'll talk about why I have so many. I think people are chicken shit to get a VA because they don't want to look inside their business and where they have faults at. That's the reality. Because it's not about keeping them busy. It's not about whether they're going to be good or not, because they may not. And we're all human. And you might go through 3 or 4 before you find the right one. And whose fault is that? It's not the VA, it's you. Because you're not training well enough, whatever. So you're sharpening a new sword for your business, and that's scary. And as entrepreneurs, we tend to be doing new stuff all the time. So you kind of got to get used to that uncomfortableness. But what happens with a VA is if you're like, okay, I get a lead that comes in, then what's next? The VA puts that lead in a warm lead section and then tells me to follow up, and then it moves to this place. And this is, and then what happens is you have to take an internal look into your business and where are you succeeding and where you're not doing good. And people are scared to do that, right? It's like looking into your own finances, but now you're looking into your businesses and where you have weak links. So like people subconsciously are like afraid, or maybe not subconsciously, are afraid to do that. So they never get a VA because someone's going to look into their business at the nuts and bolts of stuff.
Yeah.
I was telling you, like, yeah, I have about 100. I started a company called REI Call Center. Basically, we help investors in real estate, realtors, investors, buy and hold investors, whatever, find off-market opportunities at a very affordable rate. And we have about 120 virtual assistants that help our business.
Yeah. And the reason that it's such a hang up for me is, for me personally, it's going from, and this is why I wanted to be able to say this and start with this with Felipe, because it's something that I am going through right now. So all of you can use me as your chopping block and as your person that's going out into the wilderness to blaze the trail. And you can use me as your case study and your example. So for me, I'm going from the corporate mindset where I just left my job. Actually, it was a month ago. So I'm going from having my real estate and all this as a side hustle to now this is a full time. So I had a virtual assistant part-time for about 20 hours for the last month.
Yep.
And sometimes you struggle to figure out, okay, how do I keep them busy? What do I give them? What do I give them to keep them busy? And then, so I'm over here, and this is my first remote podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm over here in San Francisco, staying at my buddy's house. Calvin Shin, first episode that was on this podcast. And he was talking about, dude, make her full time and figure it out.
Yeah.
He's $7 an hour. That's $1,200 a month. For me and my scarcity mindset, I'm like, holy crap, that's a lot. But he's like, dude, that's 13 grand a year. He goes, do you think having someone work for you full time, 40 hours a week for an entire year would yield more than $13,000? I was like,
great way to look at it.
Like 10x on the bat, like 10x. If she yields me $130,000, like I failed.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now.
It's cool because like he or she is going to fail to the level that you train them. And if it was me, like personally, I would rather fail on a $7 an hour employee than an employee that could have been a rock star and I missed out on because I'm not a good leader. So don't even look at it as, oh, it's a $13,000 investment. Think about it as a $13,000 investment in your leadership skills. Are you a good leader? Well, let's find out, right?
Extreme ownership.
100%.
Always ask yourself, what can I do? If your employee fails, first person you should look at is the mirror.
For sure.
First person you should look at. Did I clearly set deadlines, expectations, how to attack this? Did I do that? If 9 times out of 10, it's a you problem.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to go through that, man. And so now it's going to be a change, to say the least, and it's going to be huge because I'm traveling around the world. But anyways, man, let's dive into freaking REI call center. How the heck did you get that started? What was that trajectory and that journey?
Yeah, so it all started like most of my businesses that have been successful have started. It was like a 11 or midnight, just winding down situation. I was laying in bed, getting ready to knock out. And I had this idea of, we had just gotten a VA from one of my members at Rat Race to Fi in my mastermind. And he had gotten a virtual assistant to help him cold call for his real estate business. And he gave me one and it didn't work out. And then he gave me another one, didn't work out. And he gave me a third and it finally worked out with that person. And I was like, okay, this is awesome. And I was like, wait a minute. And his name is Anton. He's our CEO. I was like, Anton, are you doing this for other people too? He's like, yeah, like people reach out to me all the time for VAs and I don't mind handing them off. I'm like, awesome. That's great. And then we were running into and then he was telling me he was running into the issue of like where people, I don't want to say they were complaining, but they were like, yo, can I get another one? And it's like, yeah, because I didn't work. So Anton started, because he's a really good guy. So he just started giving these things away and he would hire them, train them, and then give them, and then they would quit. And I was like, Anton, we need to make this into a business if we're going to be like more involved, if that makes sense. And that's what happened. Like I reached out to Anton. I was like, yo, can you find the VAs? I'll put branding and the business behind it. Can we do this? And he goes, yeah. I was like, all right. So I reached out to Diego Corza, my business partner. I don't do hardly any businesses without him. And I'm like, yo, what do you think about this? And he was like, great, let's do it. I'll help you through it. I'll do all the logistics and all the behind the scenes stuff. I was like, great, perfect. I got us together on a Zoom and I added one more business partner, Adam. And I gave Anton 40% of the business. I gave myself 20, Diego 20, and Adam 20. So at any point we could veto if we don't like something that he's doing, but he also does a lot more work than we do. So we gave him majority stake in the business, but all they would take is me and one other person and that's like checks and balances for myself, that it's not just me like wanting to do something different than my CEO. It's like I would have to convince Adam or Diego, who are also vested in the business, to change something if for any reason Anton didn't want to do something. Well, that's how it started. And now Anton runs the business the day to day. We have about 75, closer to 85 clients. I believe we're almost at 100. And what we do, like I said, is we help real estate professionals find off-market opportunities without having to spend thousands of dollars a month. At REI Call Center, I can basically guarantee that you'll get off-market deals for less than $1,500 a month in any market.
I feel 99% of people would be jammed in that equity split because they couldn't get past giving up control and giving up an ownership position in the company that they're deciding to air quote start. Talk a little bit about your strategy there and how you're so willing to give up equity to the right people to make this thing happen.
Yeah, I'll start from the top and then I'll explain why. So I heard Jeff Bezos one time say, there's two things in the interview. They asked him, dude, you're like a bajillionaire, right? Super billions of dollars. Don't you feel terrible about that? And he goes, no, that just means I've made more millionaires than any person in history. And like that blew me away. And then the second thing that was asked was like, oh, how do you feel about owning a majority stake in Amazon? That's too much power. And he's, I own 11%. And like that also 11 or 13%. Yeah, something like super low. Someone should cross check me on that, but I'm almost 100% sure that's exactly what it is. But I read that and I was like, that resonated with me. That means, dude, he's got have to have a lot of confidence in the other people that whatever. But what was interesting was like Anton, I was like, dude, you're going to do a lot of the work. You're going to be face first. Like, you're going to take a lot of the slack. So, you got to run the day to day. And I wanted to check some balance myself because I know how I am. I'm very like loud or whatever. And I was like, okay, I don't want to make a decision out of an emotion that's not best for REI Call Center without someone else cross-referencing me. And that was me putting trust in Diego and Adam. So if Diego was like, no, Felipe, I don't think that's a great idea, then I would go to Adam. And if he was like, yeah, I think that's a great idea, then between us two, we have enough say with Anton to like where we can have a meeting. So I would have to convince another partner or whatever. Now, if both of them say no, then my decision is void, right? And we've had that. We've had a situation, I won't go into specifics, where I was like, I don't think we should do that. I don't agree with that. And Diego and Adam both agreed that we should. So I was like, okay, great. That's what we're going to do if that's what's best for the business. And like you said, that was just me like being across, making sure that I don't have too much power because I love our business. I know what we're doing and I want to even protect it sometimes from myself.
And what you're saying is so powerful because it's the conversation of going from playing a me game to a we game. Yep. And we talk about this all the time. And a lot of people don't realize this until further down the road and further down. Maybe they're in their 40s after a couple of failing businesses. And they're realizing that while you have success on your own, you go fast, go alone, go far, go together.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I got something to say about that. Do you mind if I say
something real quick? Hit it. Jump in.
Oh, first off, I just checked. Jeff Bezos owns 10% of outstanding all shares of Amazon and 1% in I don't even understand that big word, but 11%. So
just Bezos terminology. Yeah.
Yeah, some Bezos terminology. Second thing, I don't always agree with that statement of like what you just said, go fast alone, go far together. I think if you get the right team together, you can go fast and far if you have the right
I agree.
team.
I agree.
Right?
100%. So we're seeing like a polished version of you that understands this at a high level. And then it's a no brainer for you to just be like, okay, cool. I know the people, I have the relationships. I'm going to give up these equity positions whenever we're creating a business. I'm going to make the assumption that it wasn't always.
No.
So walk us backwards from that position and kind of what events materialized. Maybe it was just mentors and coaches that helped you make this realization, because now that you have, you're going to 10 to 100x what your net worth would be if you just try to muscle this out by yourself. So what were some of the game-changing events that led to you coming and realizing like this is the best way to operate business?
I think it comes from trial and error, burned relationships or burned bridges that I might have messed up. Also books, like books are huge. There's one of my favorite books called Memoirs of an Entrepreneur. I think that's what it's called. Someone's gonna have to correct me on that. It's behind me, but basically it's 10 stories of entrepreneurs and lessons that they learned in success. And it was in one of those lessons. I think it's also a lesson in The Richest Man in Babylon. And there was one more book, probably biblical as well. I'm sure it's somewhere in Proverbs where it talks about that situation. Like with many counsels, creates great something. I'm not great at quoting scripture. And then in the movie 300, the dude said the same thing, right? It's about getting your best warriors together, where he was being asked. The guy was like, oh, we have 3,000 men. And he's like, okay, what do you do? And the dude was like, oh, I'm a gardener. I'm this, that. And he's like, Spartans, what are you? And they go, oh, yeah. It's like
I was just thinking about that when you said that.
It's the same concept, right? So like get the right people around you and you're going to succeed. And honestly, if let's say the business fails because I gave up too much equity to this person or that person or whatever the thing is, then back to extreme ownership. Then it was my fault because I didn't put the right team together and I deserve not to be part of that business.
Cool. Let's talk about some of the checks and balances here for someone that's beginning in their journey, because me and you can look at this and we have enough skin in the game to where we understand like our checks and balances in forming a team because of our networks and connections that we have. But that's not always that case. Sometimes when you're first starting out, maybe you don't have that network and community yet to be able to choose people to partner from. So my question to you is, what do you look for in a partner? And what do you, maybe on the flip side of that, what do you look to avoid in a partner? What are some red flags that you are like, whoa, this guy's not going to cut it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just think you're asking it wrong. And this is something that I learned. If you don't have any great partners in your immediate like ecosystem, then you don't need to focus on finding a good partner. You need to focus on becoming a good partner. Because are you okay, Brian?
Damn it, Felipe.
Sorry.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah, if you don't have good partners in your area, or you're like, oh, I want to find good partners, that doesn't need to be your focus. Your focus needs to be on becoming a good partner. And that is what's going to attract the right partner. And I'll explain that this way. When you are looking for a Ford truck, like you go to the lot, you try to find it, or the truck's not available, or like it's not there tomorrow. What happens the moment you buy one?
You see them everywhere. Reticular activating system.
It's because you've become a Ford truck owner. So it's the same concept with being a business partner. When you become a good business partner, you're going to see good business partners everywhere.
God, that's so powerful. Yeah, we just dropped a bomb right there. Yeah. This early, you're going to do this to the people without even getting them warmed up? We're just going to come out like this and just slap them?
That's it, bro. That's it, man.
Oh my God. All right, everyone. 5-star rating and a review and go hire REI call center right now. Thank you. This has been the Action Academy podcast signing off. No,
that's so
this is just
that's
the
how
beginning.
We run our business, bro. Like
this is just the beginning.
That's just how we run it, my guy.
And I love that you said that. And that's why I love doing this show, because I'll have a quote or something that I hear from someone. And just like Gino Barbero, Jake and Gino, he came on, he said, there's 2 ways to get coaches and mentors: pay to play, seek to serve. And so quotables, yeah, right back at you, buddy. Oh,
I like that.
Thought I wasn't going to bring heat back to you? God, ye of little faith. That was Gino Barbero.
Okay, Gino
Barbero, and I will give you due and just credit whenever I reference you as well, buddy, because I'm going to reference you with that quote, because that was fantastic.
Was that a bomb drop? I like it.
That was a bomb drop, absolutely. So let's introduce yourself, man. Let's start there. That would be helpful. But no, from my experience and for people listening to this show, I know that this show is going to be an absolute smashing success, because whenever we jump out the gate like that and just deliver as much value as possible, now every single minute's earned at this point, because it's already there. So Felipe Mejia, who the hell are you, brother?
Dude, that's a great question. Dude, I'm a father to Armando, my amazing son, a
Mm.
husband to Christina, my beautiful, amazing wife, real estate entrepreneur. I love and have a passion for teaching real estate. I'm not in love with real estate. I'm in love with teaching it, but you're not a good teacher if you don't do it. I'm, like I said, father, husband, entrepreneur. I'm a believer. I was saved when I back right after high school, in between college. Never been able to clean up my mouth. I wish I could do, but love the Lord, love everything that stands behind. As a Christian, I always try to do the best I can, give back where I can, and lead my family in that direction. Like I said, definitely not perfect, probably the back of the line. I'm sure when I get to heaven, there'll be people saying, I can't believe he got in. So
Yeah.
let him in. He did okay. I love to work out. That's how I get like my stress, not stress, because I don't really have a lot of stress, but like, that's kind of like me time. I don't like to answer the phone. Like even my wife knows, unless it's an emergency, don't text me while I'm at the gym. I try to, other than that, man, like I said, I run Rat Race Defy. It's a mastermind where we teach other people how to do what we do. My big, what is it? Big, hairy, audacious goal or whatever.
Yeah.
Is to create 100 millionaires in the next 10 years. On my way to do that through Rat Race, as well as helping others through REI call center and all that. I've always set out to make, I call myself like the Robin Hood of real estate education, because I go in, learn, and then I come back and give it away at like half price or even less. So I'll give you an example. Wholesaling. Everyone and their mom is charging thousands of dollars a month to wholesale. I learn how to do it, to hire cold callers, do all this stuff. And we literally undercut the market by half. So you will not find a company. I don't think you will. We looked. You won't find a company that's less than $3,000 a month average to wholesale. Some of the most expensive are like on the Schnicker Schnockets podcast. I want to say it that way. That are like closer to 10 grand a month. Was that funny? I got to keep myself safe and keep you safe too. So like we found the most expensive, we found the cheapest, and then we cut that in half because we learned the systems and processes and then created a business around it so that the average person can be successful. Cause dude, I got calluses on my hands. We're still asking about who I am. Like, dude, those will never go away. Like I used to be on the construction site like 6 years ago, cleaning construction sites with a broom. I wasn't even like smart enough to swing a hammer. Not that I wasn't smart enough. I just didn't have those talents. So yeah, I like go in, I learn people's systems and processes, reverse engineer them, and then make them affordable for the regular person. That's $1,500 you should be able to afford. I think if you don't, you probably shouldn't be investing in real estate, to be honest. But like asking someone to sign up for a course or something to learn how to wholesale for $5,000, does it work? Yes. The answer is yes. Those things work, but you shouldn't pay $5,000 to learn. Like $1,500 is affordable for a family, or like a dude that's just like, bro, I just had a kid. Like I'm trying to make some more money. Like I can't afford $5,000. Like I know you can't. So REI call center is $1,500, and that includes everything. Like A to Z, everything. You're not going to spend more than that. So that's why we created that. And that's who I am, dude. That's why I said, I didn't say it, but I should have said earlier. People either love me or hate me. There's nothing in between, because you're either the guy that I took the idea from and I gave it to like the poor. Not the poor, but you know how Robin Hood works. You're either that guy and you're totally hating on me, or you're like, dude, you saved my life.
I love it, man. I love it. I got another phrase for you that you can use. Yeah, buy one, get one free special, bro. Yeah. So here's another one that DJ Savoy told me, and go on this guy. And DJ was on this show too. So DJ says, so you've got your cup, right? So it's like your cup of, you talk about having your cup full and like filling up your cup so that you can pour into others. So instead, that's what I thought it always was, because my girlfriend is so giving, she just pours into other people, and then she doesn't have anything left in her cup. And I'm like, yo, I was like, yo, girl, you got to give yourself some self-love before you give everything away to other people. My friend DJ changed my perspective on this, and now he has changed my life with this one quote. And the quote is, instead of focusing on filling up your cup and pouring into others, cut the bottom off the cup.
Bro, that's huge. I'm totally stealing that tomorrow on Instagram and not giving you credit. I love that.
You should. You should absolutely steal it and not give me any credit whatsoever.
None.
Cut the bottom off the cup. So now abundance flows through you, not
that's
to
going
you.
viral, dude. I'm gonna red solo cup that. I'm gonna give it as an illustration. Oh, dude, I'm going viral.
I just got Robin Hood, bro.
You just got look, I'm telling you,
Robin Hooded, bro. I got Robin Hooded, bro. No, man, it's abundance flows through you, not to you. So now, if you're talking about it from
chills,
right? If you're talking about it from an analytical perspective, you're talking about, obviously you're helping people. Like you said, you want to create 100 millionaires in 10 years. So it's like, how do you get what you want? Zig Ziglar, how do you get anything that you want? Help enough other people get what they want. So with you having that goal, you'll go 10 times further. And so you're already operating like this, but now it's just flowing through you.
I love that. That's huge, man. It's interesting because when you said that about the cup, it's absolutely true. Learning to give through you never hurts you, because like when you're trying to fill up a cup, even though there's a hole at the bottom, it's still gonna fill up. But if you create systems and processes around you to never stop giving you water, then you're able to continuously give. And here's the other thing that I realized is you shouldn't stop helping somebody because your cup is running low and you have a fear.
Yep.
What that says,
Scarcity.
really, in my opinion, is that you don't have the system set up yet. And if anything, that should open up your eyes to, okay, what do I need to do in our business to continue that water full? And I learned that lesson from Who Moved My Cheese, that little bitty book. Have you read that book, Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah.
Such a good book. And it's like
such a good book
itty-bitty.
about change in general.
Yeah, it's great.
But yeah, now you're operating from a place to where you have now the universe God is what we believe in. But if you're not a believer, then we'll call it the universe. But for us, God is going to pour abundance into somebody. It's coming. If you're not getting it, somebody else is getting it, and abundance just flows always. So it's almost like being like that lightning rod, right, in the sky, to where you're just going to attract all of it, because he's, hey, if I give it to this guy, I'm really giving it to 100 other people. And then it just flows.
Huge.
And dude, this podcast is a perfect example. As soon as I started doing this, and because before I held on to all of this stuff, I held on to it, and I was like, all this advice from coaches and mentors, I'm like, oh, this is going to give me the edge over others. And now that I just, every single thing I learn, I'll learn something, and I'll literally go record a podcast episode on it and teach it to others for free. And
that's awesome.
It's night and day, man. So I want to talk about identity changes and identity shift, because you were working on a construction site.
Yep.
There's a leap there from construction to where you're at today.
Yep.
Let's talk about that transition.
Yeah. So first, I got to give all the credit to my wife for that one. I've never, like, I'm this really alpha open guy and all that, but obviously I have my insecurities. And like, one of the things that I always tell people
It's not very alpha of you, bro, to have insecurities.
Oh man, look at that. I've always, and it's funny because like I always feel weird about when people are like, oh, I'm so alpha. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that guy is definitely. So now I'm going to stop saying that. Thanks, Brian. See, I have insecurities.
No, that's okay.
I was talking to my wife is a huge believer in me. Like, she believes in me more than I believe in myself. And she sent a DM to to Brandon Turner and was like, yo, it's my husband's birthday. He's got this many rentals, yada, yada. He'd love to be on your podcast. And that's what got me onto the podcast on Bigger Pockets, episode 329. Yeah. My wife's like straight up just slid in Brandon's DMs. And the only reason it resonated with Brandon is because I don't know if he cares. I won't say the dates or anything. So his wife is on the same birthday as mine. So we connected the day after. Anyway, so I got an interview with him and it was great. And then I got on the podcast. It was awesome. And then from there, it gave me like more confidence to believe in myself. And then I just went all in. So I was still working on the construction site and I was able to hear the conversations that contractors, and like, how stupid of me when I first started like being on or wanting to invest in real estate. This was literally my mindset, and your face will change as I say this out loud. Like, I was literally on the construction site thinking to myself, man, I don't have any money or any knowledge in real estate. There is no way that I'm going to be successful in real estate. All I know is plumbers, framers, drywall, flooring installers. That's all I know. And I was
like, man, that's it.
What an idiot. I'm like, dude, that's the team you want.
That's what people can't find. Yeah,
exactly. So once I started leveraging that, like once I started in Kuda, or a huge shout out to Diego, he always says this, you got to use your unfair advantage. And that was mine. That was my unfair advantage, was like the people that I knew and who I surrounded myself. I didn't know rich bankers. I didn't have a rich parent. I didn't know hard money, loan money, 5'8" Hispanic dude in the South. I don't have a lot of connections. But I used my unfair advantage, which was like the people that were around me at the moment. And that really helped me out a lot. So like I could flip a home for a third of the price that other people could, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because you were part of their tribe and their community, and they already 100%. Knew you, and you had your guys. Oh man, I love it. Let's talk about, that's so huge. And then you get into this world, and then bigger. That's so cool about your wife. That's going to be the only, we will go down in history as the only instance in a wife sliding in another guy's DMs as being.
It was okay. I know. It's okay. That's so funny.
This is it right here. Documented.
That's the only time where it's okay to slide in another guy's DMs.
My life changed because my wife slid in another guy's DMs. Oh, divorce? No, life changed.
No, it was Brandon Turner.
Yeah, I think he's an okay guy. Bella, if you're listening to this, you can slide to Brandon Turner's DMs. Just at least let me stroke the beard a little bit. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
But
hilarious.
man, let's talk rat race. Let's talk rat race Defy, because Diego was on, and man, I know it's something that y'all are so passionate about and fired up about. And if you're listening to this, I know we have a lot of new listeners. If you go back, Diego Corzo, he's got an episode with this show, and it's phenomenal. He has an incredible story, and he's Felipe's partner here, and this is how we got connected.
Yep.
Talk about the origination of Rat Race Defy, and then the birth of it, and then where you see it going in the future.
Yeah. So Rat Race Defy started because, are you sure you want to ask this question? I don't know. This is good.
What are you going to hit me with?
Yeah.
Did y'all start as a drug cartel and then decide
No.
become
So
legit?
Yeah, dude, your listeners are either going to stop listening right now or be like, oh, we saw an issue in the educational space in regards to real estate investing. So for example, the biggest real estate podcast in the world, episode 1 to like episode, basically me, episode 329, which that might be a lie. There might be someone else, but it's basically like the history of our presidents. White, old white rich man, old white rich guy, old rich guy. And I was like, dude, that is not an accurate representation of real estate, like investor. Like there is a lot of Black, Hispanic, white. There is a lot of real estate investors out there for it to just be focused. And what do you tell the 16-year-old kid that wants to get into real estate and all he hears is like rich old white men that are getting rich off real estate? Like he's like, I'm not part of it. So we actually started Rat Race Defy to have a community where everyone and anyone could have a platform and would be represented. And Diego and I were like, dude, we're probably the best picture for that. He's a DACA recipient, right? He still like struggles daily. He pays 6 figures in taxes because he can't get some of the tax breaks. He's a great guy. He's DACA. I was born here. My parents came over. They immigrated here in like 1988 or something, or oh gosh, I don't even remember anymore. 1990 or a year before that.
Felipe doesn't love his parents. You heard it here first.
Oh my God, shut up, Brian. Yeah, so we were like, all right, let's see what we can do. And it's not like we're like starting a company to like for diversity. Like we just wanted everyone to be represented. That's to give those people platforms to hear from other people of color. To look, we're real estate. And we have everyone in Rat Race Defy. So that's why we started it. Plus making it an educational space that was affordable. So like Rat Race Defy is, I think, less than $4,000 for a year to be in our mentorship. And you get, this is crazy. You get 2 live Zoom calls with Diego and myself every week, Monday and Wednesday, all year. That's more than 100 like calls with us every single year. That's a lot. And so that's what Rat Race is, man. And we have a really large community. We're not numbers based. So we cap our mastermind at 75. So it's not like, hey, anyone and everyone can come in. It's like you come, you're interested, we'll talk to you. We have micro tribes also. So if let's say you're like, yeah, I want to learn real estate, but I really want to focus on Airbnb, then we have an Airbnb micro tribe. It's called the Rat Race Defy micro tribes. And you can surround yourself with just people that are doing just Airbnb to like super lock down your niche. And that's the other thing we have. And that's Rat Race in a nutshell.
Man, I love what you said there, because I feel like this is something that I'm trying to do with this show is come out the gate, man, and it just have like different people with different like backgrounds, different races. And what I was really bad about was that having like female investors on here. So now we've got a lot more female investors on here, and just really paint a picture that every single person can do this. Because like when we release this episode, I think that we're also going to have the episode after this. This is going to be a Tuesday. Then on Thursday, we're going to have this mom of 3 kids where she literally had an Etsy business, and that's what she used to save up the down payment for her first rental. And now she has a 7-figure portfolio.
No way.
Yeah. So it's just, it's accessible for everyone, and it's possible for everyone. Is it harder for some than others? Yes, but it's worth it.
100%.
We have to just give them the hope that they can do it too.
That's it.
Right.
Or just giving someone to look up to and say, oh yeah, Felipe, Hispanic guy, is financially independent through real estate. I can do it too.
Yeah. And it all comes back to the power of America too, man, because 100%. my girlfriend is Brazilian, and she was born and raised in Belo Horizonte. And in Brazil, there is no middle class. You're either rich or you're in the favelas. That's it.
Oh shoot. That's crazy.
No middle class. And when people graduate, they go and they have to live with their parents, because even if you do go to school, you're elite there if you have a secondary education, and they can't afford to buy real estate down there. So you have to live with family for a long time because you just can't afford it. So come to America, you can get so many programs and so many different levels of opportunity, man. And
I love it. The
so
pursuit
awesome.
of happiness. And the key word there is the pursuit. So, and that's what I love about it.
Yep. So on that note, what is because I know that you're actively investing in real estate throughout all of this. What's your portfolio looking like right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let's look that up live. You give me share screen. I can show that. let people see that if they want.
Let's
That way
see.
maybe
How
it
do
gets
I? How does one
graphic
do
to
that?
your- How do you what?
How do I do that?
You just make a co-host, and I'll
How
be.
do I do? How do I do that?
Don't worry about it. It's cool. I'll just tell you. So my SREO says
Wait,
that
no, you're good.
Do what?
There you go.
Okay. Awesome. Give me stand by 1 second. So what does my SREO say? Let's see here. Wow. Share my screen. Maybe people can go over to YouTube and check it out. So my
This is
SREO
why we edit
says
podcasts, man. This is they're not going to hear any of this part.
we have 33,000 square feet of real estate, 65 doors, mix of cabins and all that stuff, and cash flow net worth is all there too. And then while they're here, so yeah, 65 doors within apartment complexes, houses, and all that. 33,000 square feet, almost 34,000 square feet of real estate. And this is what Rat Race looks like. You see how we're just a bunch of different people.
Yeah, it's a giant blend of people. Like this country that what's the name again? Oh yeah, America.
Just like,
Like a giant blend of different people.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, man. No, that's fantastic. So when you were doing that, and I know we're running short on time, so we won't go like deep into it. But you have a mixture of like short term, multifamily, and then just single family, right? Like those are your jams.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right.
Okay. Out of those, which one do you, if you were to look back and be like, man, if I would have just done this and just gone all in on this one, which one would you say?
I guess probably the best ROI would have been like Gatlinburg, high risk, high reward cabins. But honestly, I chase cash flow. I don't chase the asset, if that makes sense. It's not like a certain asset that I like more that I've mastered, you could say. I really just won the thrill of the hunt and the kill, but just huge advocate of cash flow. And with that, using the line of credit strategy over the BRRRR strategy.
There we go. Let's hit on this line of credit. So we were speaking about this before the show as well. Talk about how you utilize that method as opposed to refinancing out, because now we're in a situation, this is recorded in 2022, where the rates are going up through the roof. Yeah, and a lot of people are caught with their pants down. Like even for me, I'm not going to be able to be able to refi, but I've got like a 2.5% rate on my primary right now. I'm just like, there's no point in refining out of that. To a 6? No. So talk about your HELOC strategy.
Sure. So I'm going to do a little picture here for your people. So that, I'm going to have to take off my screen. So let's say that you refinance. Let me take off my background here.
Take it all off.
This is not OnlyFans. All right. So you have $100,000 in equity, right?
Okay.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not the smartest dude at the table. So please, if I'm wrong, I beg you, Brian, tell me. Is that fair?
Yeah, trust me.
Your listeners will be like, Brian, you should have said something. If okay, is that fair?
Yeah, it's okay. You've got a pink note card. I trust you.
All right, cool. Yeah, this is exactly how I run my deals too. I'm not even kidding.
Run it. Okay. So for people listening, we got a pink note card out. Okay, we got $100,000 equity.
Okay, $100,000 in equity. You walk into the bank, they're going to give you at best 30% of refi of that. At best, am I right or wrong?
Like 70%, yeah.
Okay, so 70% of $100,000 is $70,000, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to walk out of the bank with $70,000. I don't care what, if you bought it cheap, if you did this, I don't care what you did. If you have $100,000 in equity, they're going to give you 30%. You're going to walk out with a $70,000 check, right or wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to walk out with a $70,000 check. You're going to take a cute picture for Instagram, and then you're going to walk right back into the bank and you're going to deposit that $70,000 check, right or wrong?
Correct.
Okay. So you're going to walk right back into the bank and you're going to deposit $70,000. And the moment the next month hits, you're going to get a bill for what?
I don't know. People want to know.
You're going to get a bill for your interest plus, you're going to get for interest and principal for the refinance, right or wrong?
Correct.
So when I heard that, I was like, okay, wait a minute. I'm not the smartest guy in the tool shed. But you're telling me that I come into the bank and hand you my $100,000 equity. You hand me back $70,000. I walk right back in and put it in your bank account. And then I got to pay you back for my own equity. And I lost 30%.
Uh-oh.
Now,
I'm
not the smartest kid, and I made C's and D's in high school, and that college degree should have two people's names on it. But that shit don't add up.
What's the alternative, Felipe? Let them know.
Boom. Drops the mic, line of credit. So then I asked my banker, I said, man, I love you, buddy, and I've been with you since I'm 16, but I'm not doing that. My banker's awesome. Mr. King, huge shout out. He said, there's another option. I said, all right, what do you got? He's like, I can give you a line of credit on 70,000. I said, okay. And I said, well, how much do I owe you? He's nothing. until you use it. And I was like, okay, so it's my line of credit. He goes, yes. Leveraged against what? The rental. Okay. And your second lien? Yes, second lien. Great. What if I don't want to use it until 3 weeks from now or 3 months from now or 6 months? He goes, I'll put it on to 10 years. Okay. When do I got to pay? He's like, only when you use it. And with a refi, you pay in the next 30 days. What if I don't use it? You still got to pay me. Okay. So a line of credit, I get the same access to the same money. The only step we're missing is you don't give me a check and I don't get a fancy picture for Instagram. He goes, yes. I said, all right, so what if I want to draw $10,000? He goes, draw $10,000 and you're only going to pay interest on $10,000. Not the whole thing. He said, not the whole thing. So I did it. And then I took out 10 grand and I looked at him. He goes, all right, you owe me interest on 10 grand next month. Took out another 10. Okay, now you owe me interest on 20,000. I put it back. He's like, okay, you just owe me the interest now. I was like, so I can come in and take $30,000 as a down payment if I find a deal, when and if I find a deal, and I can fund that down payment myself with that money, and I'm not paying you interest on 70 grand, just the interest on what I pull out? And he goes, yes. I was like, okay. So I did. And I've built my whole portfolio on a $150,000 line of credit. I've built about $5 million on the same line. Now, here's the last question that I'll have your buyers ask themselves, and I'll let you answer it first. When you refinance a property, who do you pay it back to every single month?
When you refinance the property, the bank.
Mm-hmm. Right. When you have a line of credit and you're paying back when you're paying back what you owe, who are you paying?
You.
It's your line of credit. If that doesn't like tickle your fancy, I don't know what will in real estate.
Man, the fancies are being tickled right now. Everyone's fancies are being tickled.
The biggest question that you haven't asked me is, how do you pay it back? So let's say you take out 20 grand, you buy a property, great, it's cash flowing $500, $600, $700, but how do you pay back the line of credit? So in my opinion, the line of credit allows you to become successful really quick because you still have to hustle. You still have to work to pay off the line of credit. So you use the cash flow from the property and your W-2 job or your side hustle or whatever you're doing, and you attack the line of credit as quick as possible. And what's cool is, let's say I take out 20 grand, I pay off 10 grand, but I want to use another 30. You can do that. So I found another deal. And now I have 2 properties giving me, I don't know, $700 each. That's $1,400 plus I add another $1,000 from my W-2. That's $2,400. We pay off line of credit in a year. Next year, I can buy 2 rentals. The year after that, 3 rentals, because the cash flow continues to add up. You're not going to buy assets that don't give you money. But you use those to strategically pay off the line of credit. And it took me 5 years to become financially independent. The year after that, I became a millionaire. And now we're in year 7 and I've hit 5 million. So it literally went from 5 years to 5, 1 year to a millionaire, then the next year 5 million, and I'm assuming I'm just going to keep doubling.
So you don't really know what you're talking about?
Not at all. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I do it on the back of sticky notes.
We do it on the back of sticky notes, people. That's the pink sticky note strategy with Felipe Meija.
I don't understand.
No, I love it.
Now let me say this before everyone jumps on my throat. Jumps down my throat. What do white people say? Like one in the hand.
White people say a lot.
What is it? 2 in the bush, 1 in the hand. What is it? I love that one, but I never know how to use it.
Two in the hand's worth 1 in the bush.
No, that's not how it is it?
I promise you it is.
No, 2 in the bush is 1. Dude, I don't even know what that means. Like, if I'm just
keep going, Felipe. You're on a roll.
Cool. I'm gonna keep going. So there is a place for refinancing. People have just misused it. You refinance assets that are 5 units or more or so forth, because those are judged on the rental income, not based on the value of the property. Okay. That is when the refinance happens. It's just that people are greedy and they want their money back, and then they refinance like single family homes. Now, you would only refi a single family home if you can get a better interest, because you can up your cash flow. So for example, remember I told you that I buy for cash flow. So why in the hell would it make sense to refi a 2.5 to a 6 to get some money back, but I'm not going to cash flow? That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So what do you do? So here's something I've ran into. It's a little bit more difficult to get lines of credit, from my experience, at least, on rental properties, as opposed to a primary residence.
You've been asking for a quesadilla at a burger joint.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. So you don't go to a Mexican restaurant and order a burger, do you?
No.
That would be weird.
Unless you're very white.
Unless you're very white, yes. You're so dumb. No, you go to a Mexican restaurant, you order a quesadilla, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so banks are the same way. Banks either make their money on credit cards or loans or home loans or lines of credits or refis. They're just not going to plaster it on their wall, because unless you wanted to refi, you're not going to go to that bank. So they want everyone to come in, right? So it's up to you to find the right bank that's going to do it. And part of that is knowing what to ask. A HELOC is on your home where you sleep. A line of credit leveraged against an asset is going to be called a line of credit. And those two letters make a big difference.
So what lenders would you say would
Small
be
local
the best
banks
case
where
scenario?
the asset is located. So in Nashville, Tennessee is where my rentals are. I go to banks that are local to Nashville, like First City, First State, Fifth Third, Pinnacle, whatever.
And then you just ask them for a line of credit against your asset.
Correct. And they'll do it against the equity of the asset.
Mm.
Most of the time, you're not going to call one, you'll call 5 or 6 to find the right one.
Okay, cool. So walk someone through that is listening to this right now. Maybe they have primary, maybe they have a rental, and they've got some equity in it. They know that it's there, and they've been racking their brain on how to compete in today's housing market. And now they hear this, and they're removing the first two letters from the line of credit. They're taking the he out the HELOC. What does that conversation look like when they're calling the banks?
Yeah. So if it's an asset, like not your house, if it's like
Rental property,
123 Main Street, you're going to call the bank and you're going to say, hey, Brian, it's this Felipe. I own 123 Main Street and my property it's appreciated. It's worth 400,000. I have a $180,000 mortgage. Would you be interested in doing a line of credit on the equity of my home at 70%? And then they'll say, yeah or no. And typically you're going to rule of thumb. If they're like, yeah, let's talk about it. Or I have someone in the office. That's a good sign. A bad sign is when, oh, okay, yeah, let me get my manager to call you back, which means I need to figure it out, or I've never heard of it. Or we don't have that person in this office, but let me forward you to somebody that does. They don't have a person in the office. They don't know what the hell you're talking about. So those are some of the things that I listen to when I'm calling a conversation, just so I don't waste my time with the bank. If they don't have someone basically in-house that can handle it, then just move on to the next bank.
Yeah, that's fair because Diamond doesn't. Like, we're just going to have to find the best bank for us.
100%.
Okay.
Like I literally went to the bank before this call. Actually, it's pretty funny that we're talking about this. Went to the bank and I paid off my $30,000 line of credit that I had. I have 150,000. The house is now worth like 400 or maybe a 350. I haven't run the comps on it in a while, but I asked her for a higher line of credit and she'll literally bump it up to like maybe 220, 225.
And then you can just use that to take down bigger deals.
Oh man. And that's why I say line of credit is super safe because it doesn't let you outdo yourself.
Yeah, because you're not leveraging your down payment. You're using your down payment to leverage.
Yep.
Love it. All right. Hell yeah, brother. There we go. We're cooking. We're cooking now, man. It's been fantastic. So two questions to finish out.
Yeah, dude.
First question is, so what's the next mountaintop for you? What fast forward 3 years, 5 years, vivid vision. What's going to be your next Mount Everest?
Dude, like I said, my goal is 100 millionaires in the next 10 years. So I'm focused. I don't really have anything else. I focus on my family, my wife, my kid. Those are just non-negotiables. But my biggest mountain is I want to make 100 millionaires in the next 10 years. And I can't do that one at a time typically. So I have to create systems and businesses around helping people to do that.
Okay, awesome. So if somebody's listening to this and they want to be one of those 100 millionaires, where do they reach out to? Where do they find you?
There's only 3 places. So either Rat Race, REI call center, or become a one-on-one client. The one-on-one clients, I'm super, super selective. It's not about the money. It's about, do I like you? If I'm just being 100% honest, I got to be with you for a year. And most of my one-on-one clients, they've become millionaires in the first year that we work together. Probably all of them. I think I have a perfect track record.
Yeah. Okay. And but where are they starting from? They starting from square one?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I have debt type of square one.
This man's swinging for the fences. I love it. I love it. And then if people are looking to connect with you on social media, where do they go?
Oh, dude, that's it. Just Felipe Meija, REI.
Got it. Last question.
Yeah, dude.
What is one thing about you that you or your business that you're most proud about that most people don't know?
What is something in my business that I'm most
what is something about yourself, your person, like just yourself or your business that you're most proud about that most people don't know about you?
I have mentored 4 people into millionaire status in 6 months and didn't charge them a dime, and no one knows who they are.
Yep. I love that, man.
No one knows who they are.
We'll end it. You can't outpower that statement. We will leave it with that. And with that is Felipe Meija, and the host of the Action Academy podcast, your man Brian Movement, signing off.